Hi Neelam, welcome to Just Five Question Please, a leadership series hosted by Zoho for Startups team. So, talking about Neelam Jain. Neelam Jain is a social entrepreneur and the founder of PeriFerry, an organization that creates sustainable and dignified livelihood for transgender community in India. So far, PeriFerry has placed over 200 plus transgender individuals at various positions across businesses and trained over 400 plus people. Their client base includes many reputed organizations such as Adobe, Accenture, ANZ Bank, Walmart Labs, Vodafone, Goldman Sachs, and many more. She is one among the 13 women who made it to Forbes India 30 under 30 list for her exceptional contribution towards creating an inclusive workplace for LGBTQ community. It gives me great pleasure to have you with us, Neelam.
Thank you so much, Akash. Absolutely my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, Neelam. Before we jump into the questions or the interview series that we have today, I'll just brief you about the format. So we totally have 5 questions with us right now. The first 4 questions would be about your work, how you have worked as a startup, what were your decisions that you made, and what you've learned through this journey and the impact that you've created. And the fifth one would be a rapid fire round, which would be more on your personal choices and preferences. So let's get started with the very first question. More than running a recruitment company, you have helped many transgender people realize their true potential. How has this journey transformed you as a person, Neelam?
Sure. I think, and this is something that I say very often, that being an ally or doing anything which could be socially impacting, more than how much it impacts the person around or the beneficiaries, I think the person who's doing that job, it is so liberating, and I think it really evolves you as a human being. It's been a phenomenal journey for me, and to be seeing the kind of impact we're making, to be able to see actual difference in the lives of people, and so many of them who probably until yesterday were only resorted to, like, say, going for begging or involved in sex work, who may not have even had parental support, and were really pushed to the margins of their of the society. They are sitting in offices like how you and I do. They're able to work normally, and actually have a social circle as well. I think more than the job, they're able to have like a normal social life today. So all of that is extremely empowering for me and for my team. And that's what really keeps us going, and continues helps us do the work that we do every day.
Thanks, Neelam. Going to the second question, what exactly can organization do to improve diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, so diversity already exists. I mean, if you take our current workplace or any place for that matter, there is good amount of people who come with different experiences, different socio-economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, caste, class, creed, religions, etc., and just personal perspectives as well. So the diversity really exists. What we really need to have is a space where people can actually be themselves and be a whole lot more inclusive, and to be inclusive of specifically the LGBTQ community is something that we as Periphery advocate and continuously work towards. And that starts off with very simple actions, as people being able to express who their partner is. Maybe it's easy for me to express that I do have a husband or a boyfriend or whoever, but is it that way for someone who's gay or lesbian? Can they really express that part of their life without fearing what someone will say, or without feeling discriminated? Can a transgender person, express that they identify as trans and not live in a closet, live that suffocating sort of a life? So yeah, I mean, I think there are many things organizations can do, but to begin with is to just have a conversation about it, have a safe space where people can come together and even talk, because most of them don't even know what it means to be LGBTQIA, especially in India. A lot of us still think it's maybe some Western concept we took from somewhere, and India was never like this. People weren't ever like this. So, firstly, just having that conversation, companies should really invite speakers who identify as LGBTQ individuals, have them come over and share their journeys, because that would make a tremendous impact in influencing how others would think. Have continuous sensitization programs, have washrooms which are gender neutral, because that way you're really showing a sign that you're inclusive of many different gender identities and not just man or woman. Have policies that are inclusive of even trans members, have just like how we may have a benefit for our spouses, it's important that even LGBTQ persons have same-sex partner benefits. So many ways in which companies can show, and it just doesn't have to be a Pride Month logo color change. It should be a lot more than that in action.
So true, Neelam. When you told about it all starts with talking about this and acknowledging that this exists,
Yeah,
and being able to talk about it is the very first step that we can take to,
yeah,
bring this to visibility to a lot more people who still assume that this is a Western thought which is bought out by some people, and they still
yeah,
assume that this is false beliefs or something like that. So talking about it is a very first initiative that we can do, and going forward, you have actually empowered so many people in terms of employment, in terms of career development. That's an amazing move. Moving on to the third question. Talking about the venture, there are so many transgender people who need employment for sustained livelihood. How do you plan
yeah.
to scale and keep it profitable at the same time? And also, the pandemic has changed the entire dynamics and equations here. So, post pandemic,
Yeah.
what do you see in terms of the employment? And is it what's a global opportunity? And where do you see yourself?
It's a very interesting question, Akash, because anytime we talk about scale, especially in social ventures, it may also mean that it impacts the root of the cause. It may also mean that we deviate from what we set out to do, or how anything that is small, anything that is more nimble is a lot more easier. It is a lot more genuine in its work. But the moment when you say that, okay, this year we want to place maybe 10,000 transgender people and create jobs for them, how are we going to do it? Because social change also means that it's not just me and my infrastructure and resources that are ready, but is the corporate ready? Are the organizations ready? Is the transgender community ready at the scale at which we're asking? So there are so many different stakeholders and players that get involved. But one of the things, and I can tell you from the perspective of what we're doing, in order to really scale up, because until now what we've done is just build a sustainability. When PeriFerry started out, we didn't have a rule book to go by. We didn't know what to follow. We started off and then we figured things out on the way. 4 years in, we know what works and what doesn't work with the community and the organizations and our society. So we're building up these residential training centers for the transgender community, and we're setting up these hybrid models. We strongly believe that any social change cannot happen with just a for profit entity. We're building a hybrid model of running a not for profit and a for profit organization so that we can solve many of the problems at the grassroots level. One of our first residential training center is coming up in Bangalore in
Wow.
the first week of July, and with that, we're aiming to create jobs at least for about 300 plus people just through that one center in the next 1 year. The aim is that we are able to establish many such centers with the help of our corporate partners, invite a lot more people from the community into those spaces, because the community just does not need a skilling, right? Anybody can give skilling even from home. You can access any training courses, but what's really required is an environment shift, a safe space where the transgender people can be themselves and they're not constantly judged, and their self-esteem is improved, their confidence is improved, and they see more people like them and are actually able to feel happier. So we want to build that entire cultural change, give them a new environment, and then also hone their education and skilling. And alongside, we also know that there are many trans persons who come with great education. So we might think that trans people don't have education or don't have qualifications, etc., but a lot of them do have all of that. So for us, we continuously work with that sort of a group as well, and direct them to the right kind of organizations who will actually embrace them and help them move, have build a great career for them. So many such approaches for us to really scale up our training and our job initiatives.
I get that. And as you told Neelam today, it's not just having the option to upskill themselves. The overall ecosystem that you build, the ability to upskill, the overall support system, and then the employment, and then giving them a safer environment where they're able to, mingle with people, share their experiences. So this is an overall ecosystem that you're building, and this is once again an amazing initiative. And I totally resonate to this idea. Upskilling can be done even out there, sitting at your home, but your idea of providing them the overall ecosystem and nourishment is the factor that's going to differentiate the overall startup idea itself.
Thank you.
Moving on to the fourth question, Neelam. Being a change maker, what advice would you give to aspiring social entrepreneurs who wish to create a societal impact?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still making that change. I don't know if I've reached the peak yet to give that sort of advices and stuff. But one thing I learned was to just be really fearless. Uh, the more people are concerned about, will this work, will this not work? Uh, is there a. I don't think social change happens with a lot of calculation. You cannot go into it thinking that, okay, a plus b is equal to this and this is going to be the end result. No, social change, social impact does not work that way. It works with a lot of intention, and it works with a willingness to keep ideating, keep prototyping. And what we've learned, and what I've really learned in my journey, is that although my idea was always fixed, that I want to create sustainable livelihoods and financial independence for transgender persons, I had to constantly innovate and ideate it, and change my approach, because that's how social impact happens. There wasn't a one set strategy that actually made it work. From the time that we started working 4 years ago to now, we have constantly innovated ourselves every single day to be doing what we're doing today. So the only thing I would like to say to people who want to bring out change and impact is that they have to be open, they have to be flexible, they have to throw their own inhibitions out the door, because if they don't believe and if they don't think they can do this, then it's not going to happen. So a lot of conviction is required, and just don't listen to the naysayers, because especially because it's not been done before, there is a huge amount of leap and faith that's required.
Definitely. So one needs to be fearless and then
Yeah.
make the jump with having faith in one's own
Yeah.
conviction.
Yeah, and then like really not give up in this. I mean, I wouldn't say be stupid and keep doing even when you see no results. You will see results in smaller quantities, and as long as you're seeing that, keep changing your approach, keep trying new things out, and you will come to a solution for your problem.
So true. So true. Neelam, so let's move on to the fifth question here. So this is going to be a rapid fire round. So simple five questions. So whatever comes to your mind, the very first thought, don't give it too much of a thought. Just you can be spontaneous. Whatever comes to your mind, feel free to
Sure.
answer it.
I'm kind of worried about what you're going to ask me, but it's okay. Let's go ahead.
Sure. Let's get started. Two things you wish to change from your past.
I still wish I started earlier than when I did. That's just something that I feel. Another thing is I really wish I pursued tennis a lot more than I should be. I mean, I kind of gave up on a sport that I really loved, so I wish I could still do that.
Say you could read people's mind. On whom would you try this first and why? And you need to name two people who would like to try this on.
Okay. Oh, you're asking. Oh, I thought you were going
Mm,
to give me a
no,
situation.
no, no, two people. Just name me the two people whom you want to read your mind and why you want to.
Um, I think I would definitely love to read my mother's mind, because she's just very neutralized. She's just poker face for everything, and whether it's anything good I'm doing, anything absolutely some blunder that I've made, I've only seen poker face reactions from her. So I never really understand what she's up to. She's never stopped me from anything. She never really like pushes me also for anything massively. So it's a very neutral kind of a person and reaction she has. I would really love to understand what's on her mind all the time. Another person, can't really
Sorry
think
for
of anyone.
interjecting. I have the same answer actually. If someone was to ask me that question, I have the same thing. She has a very neutral perspective. No matter what happens, the way she handles things is just amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's just amazing, right? Like I don't know if there's a volcano on her mind, but it just doesn't show.
Exactly. And maybe I would say that this in a way sometimes they, even if you share something really good and happening thing, there's no spontaneity. They take it in a very lighter note. So in a way that's good, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's kind of pisses us off.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, very recently I mean, apart from the whole Forbes thing that happened, even when we come on the newspaper, obviously my siblings and my dad get very excited, but my mom's like, "Huh, okay, cool, I'm gonna go make some breakfast." So it's just it's just that.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, she's been a massive support, but yeah, that's her reactions are just it's just brilliant. Um, Sorry, I can't think of a second person. Yeah,
Cool.
I
Okay.
actually think my cat. Uh, she's another, I don't know, person who has, I don't know, any reaction. I'm not a person. A cat is a cat. So yeah, I would love to
But
think how
that will be
cats think.
interesting. Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. What do cats think?
I
That's
don't know. They're just thinking all the time and she's lying in one corner and staring. So it would be nice to know what she's thinking as well.
yeah. Two people you admire the most in terms of work or profession or personal or whatever it is.
A lot of people, I do have a tendency to, really get fond of people, especially in my closest circles. I have a very small group of friends, so I'm really fond of people that I am very close with. But two people specifically, it would be my father, just for the kind of grit he's carried, and his own life has been a whole journey and of ups and downs and everything, but he's never given up. He's been very excited about things. He's 60 right now, and he still has that childish, what do I say, excitement in him. That's one of the reasons why I also happen to be doing the work I'm doing, because if not for parents and supportive a father, I don't think I would have even pursued something like this, especially coming from the background that I came from. um, I am also very, very fond of one of my close friends. Her name is Mary. Uh, the way she carries herself, her outlook on life, and how much she really enjoys every single moment. Very easy to say, but most of us are not living in the moment. Most of us are living like either in the future or what has happened in the past. So, someone like her really, balances someone like me. My sister is someone that I'm extremely fond of as well, just for how much she cares about everybody around her. So yeah, I can. There's a huge list, but I'm going to
Yeah.
stop with that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the fourth rapid fire question is the book that you're reading currently, if any.
Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm not reading anything at this point. Not a great answer, but yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Top three life lessons that you've learned. I know that's a very big ask.
Yeah, I can tell you with what I'm thinking right now, and things
Okay.
that have happened recently as well.
Yeah.
Top
Anything, any
one,
recent bulb glowing
yeah,
moment or yeah, yeah,
sure, sure. I mean, I not too much gyan, but I can only tell you from the recent happenings, because life lessons also keep changing with where we are and what's happening with us.
I get that.
Number one is integrity. Very, very easy to say, but very hard to display. So, one of the things I've learned is even those with the most genuine intention, the most trustworthy people can act otherwise. So, yeah, I mean, giving people a chance is important, and giving yourself a chance and not being too hard on yourself is extremely important. But integrity really matters a lot. Second is, I didn't realize when, and this is something I think about, I think almost every day or week. I didn't realize how 4 years of periphery have passed by. I still imagine myself to be the 22, 23-year-old who started off. But 4 years have gone so passed so by. So, from this year on, I have made a conscious intent of doing things even apart from my day to day work, because I don't want to look 10 years from now and be like, I didn't do anything apart from just working. And while I'm really happy and excited about my work, I do want to pursue other things. So another life lesson, at least at this point, is to pursue a bunch of other things that I have liked and I've been fond of. um, I think apart from this, it would, yeah, I am someone who is extremely family bound, so family and friends bound. So yeah, I mean, whatever happens, you can be on a Forbes list or you can be anywhere else, but you go home to your friends and your family. So always keep that in mind, and do what you would do even as a friend. Yeah, doesn't matter where you go.
So overall, Neelam, this has been an amazing session, and we have literally got to know an entire picture, starting from what are the challenges, how it is, and how difficult it has been for you to scale up, and your idea of having a for-profit and non-for-profit entity running parallelly so that you can scale up and you can keep this thing afloat and profitable. I think this is an amazing model. I think in the same, I mean, at the end of the day, if you are able to create that social impact and change, I think that's where your success is. So
Yeah,
this was just so much I mean, we have met with so many co-founders, but your idea and the business model, and your, I mean, I think you're the first of kind. Your business is the first of kind, where you're exclusively working for transgender communities and on an
Yeah.
extension to LGBTQ. So, and helping them with employment, empowering them for getting into professional, technical or non-technical jobs. So, I think that's
Yeah.
a great, amazing initiative. And thanks for joining the interview with us. And we are very much pleased to have you here. And the knowledge transfer was just amazing.
No, my pleasure. And I've been a big fan of Zoho, the kind of values, ethics it works with. So, a pleasure to be talking on this platform. And thank you so much for having me and hosting this show. Thank you.
Anytime, Neelam, anytime. Thank you. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you.